Hey Shrikopaths. I've been using this character almost from the start. I just really enjoy her playstyle. And I vaguely understood kind of what she did, but that's it. Today, however, we're going to uncover the mysteries of Hephae once and for all. I'm Shrike, like, comment, and subscribe for more gacha content, and join my Discord for a chill place to hang out and meet other gacha game enthusiasts. Links in the description, let's dive in. Hephae is a fire element support character that focuses on buffs and anomaly synergy. Let's take a look at what the game recommends for her marks. Outstanding Herbalist and River of Oblivion, with attack, elemental anomaly mastery, and fire damage as stats. Now most of that seems fine, but Herbalist is a bit weird here. Doesn't seem to really fit her, so we check the Discord recommendations. What I like to do is cross-reference both and then make my decision. Now they have Herbalist as well, or Hippocratic Oath, but the healing is a very small part of her kit, so I wouldn't go with Oath. I guess we trust the professionals and use Herbalist. And as for stats, Elemental Mastery primarily, and then whatever flavor you'd like your damage to take. Attack and crit rate is a good option, or fire damage and pierce, but the Elemental Anomaly Mastery is the most important. Make sure each piece has it. And if you do those, you can fit a Shining Star and one of this shape also. And here's how that would fit. But I've gone a completely different direction entirely. I didn't like the 10-piece, and so I've built my Hephae using a 5-5-5-5-5 build. Very rarely seen because it's usually not as efficient, but it's how I wanted to build her. I've got the River of Oblivion and Golden Branch for anomaly build-up and anomaly damage. I've got the Terracotta General, because spoiler alert, she gets some chase damage in her kit later on. And I've got Shining Star and Jade Crane for ultimate build-up and ultimate damage. And as for stats, I basically made sure each piece had anomaly mastery, and then went with attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And this is how I fit that in. Let me tell you, it took a bit to finally figure out a setup that let me fit all of these in the grid. If you don't like this way, feel free to use the tried and tested builds the game or Discord recommend. Now let's look at her skill kit. Basic attack isn't anything special. Skill 1 does a spinning slam with her hammer. That's it. Skill 2 does a big slam and creates a big fiery forging zone. Then she backflips out of there. The ultimate makes her spin around and deal damage, and then slam down. Unlike most ultimates, you can control her movements throughout hers. And her passive says that if her spinning attack, the skill 1, hits the forging zone, created by skill 2, it does a big explosion and gives your team some damage resistance that goes away when they take damage. Remember this explosion? When her skill 1 hits her skill 2 zone, I'll reference it later. And that's her kit. Seems pretty underwhelming, but most of her power comes from her tangential effects, such as notable talents 1, 2, and 4. 1 says that as long as allies have that damage resistance buff she gives, they also have their attack buffed too. Number 2 expands the radius of her zone and allows it to do chase damage, which is why we're running Terracotta General. And 4 says that whenever an enemy receives burning, she heals the frontline character. The healing scales off of Hephae's Anomaly Mastery stat, another reason to focus on that one. This is a small but clutch heal that doesn't even require Hephae be on the field, nor her zone to be up or anything. It just periodically checks to see if someone is burning and heals the on-field character. Notable potentials are, well, basically all of them. 1 gives her stacking Anomaly Mastery with skill 1, which, as you know, affects the healing she can do. 2 gives the explosion her passive causes 30% more damage. 3 improves her fire damage by 10%, so don't ever feel bad about putting fire damage on her, she makes great use of it. 5 makes her hit enemies 10% harder when they're affected with fire anomaly, not burning, fire anomaly, so as long as their fire anomaly gauge has some in it, as far as I know, it'll work. That's how it's worded at least. And 6 increases the team's anomaly mastery while her zone is up. A lot of things happening while her zone is up. But the most important tangential thing for her is her exclusive weapon. It gives her a ton of extra elemental anomaly mastery, makes skill 2 hit much harder, and also says that when her zone is active, all teammates get increased penetration that scales off of her own elemental anomaly mastery. Character that grants team-wide penetration is just ridiculous. Shame it's locked behind her weapon, but it is what it is. Highly recommend getting it for her. Skill priority is awarded to her passive mainly because it scales her damage reduction buff and the explosion damage from her zone. Then if you want more damage from her, Ultimate skill 2 then skill 1, or perhaps skill 2 ultimate then skill 1. This is probably one of my most invested characters because I love her playstyle so much, and also I was young and naive and upgraded all of her skills way higher than I should have back at the start of the game. Combat time. Let's see her in action. You heard zone a lot, so if you assumed we want to get her zone up ASAP, you're right. That's pretty much the goal of her kit and rotation. So let's pretend we just swapped off our DPS and onto Hephae. What we want to do is, are you ready? Skill 2, and then when she jumps back from her zone, skill 1 in the air. If you look at her skill, it even tells you to do this. She'll change direction in midair and come spinning down into the zone, triggering her passive, the explosion, the damage reduction buff, the attack boost, the penetration buff if you have her weapon, and then you can get out of there. Unless you want to keep going or her ultimate is ready, but her rotation is literally skill 2, skill 1. And if you don't want to time it, skill 2 and then spam skill 1. It'll trigger the earliest it can while she's in the air and work just the same. Everything else happens automatically behind the scenes. You do kind of want to swap off of her right away so you don't waste all those buffs. Again, skill 2, skill 1. It's that simple. Now teams for Hephae. She heals the on-field character if the enemy receives burning, so it stands to reason you want a fire DPS like Florence to helm her team. But you don't really need a healer for the third slot, so you can grab another buffer or a sub DPS. A Florence Hephae Zero team could work. Florence Hephae Viola. Florence Hephae Nana. Florence Oh, you don't have Florence? That changes things. Well, it's just her heal that works off of fire. The rest of her buffs affect everyone regardless of element. So yeah, throw her in with your Licha, Wuxia, heck even Ching. Ching Hephae Asti? Weird team, but go for it. I'm calling that the Steam team. You heard it here first. And with that being said, I'm gonna fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.